Your narcissistic parents constantly will change plans and directions for you. They are so unpredictable that it makes it very hard to know what they really want from you. And of course, they do this on purpose. So when they give you advice in life, it's about what they want you to be. Their needs and desires change on their mood. So you will feel like no matter what you do, you are never enough for them. They want to help you, they want to control you. I'm going to tell you example. When I was 19, around 20, my father started complaining that I should get a job. So after college, I should work because that's what other parents' children were doing. So why not me? And I had no problem. I found a job. I think it was store. We sold birthday cards or something, balloons, and yeah, it was a gift shop. So half time I started working there. For a while he stopped complaining. He was satisfied. After a while, he started coming to my job just to make fun of me, just to bully me in front of other customers. He would make fun of me because I worked in that store and I could do better somehow. And let me remind you, I was 19 years old. And he would raise his voice in front of other customers. So people would hear him how he would put me down and bully me. And every time we had an argument, he would text me that he would come to my work and he would tell everybody what a horrible child I was. This man wanted to embarrass me in front of others. First, he wanted me to get a job. And when I actually got a job and started making a little bit money on the side, he didn't like it. He would constantly put me down. He would tell me, because now you make a lot of money, you think you are grown up. You think you can live without me? You are nothing without me. And every time I would tell him that I'm working, can you leave? Can you leave, please? Stop bothering me. He would start yelling more and more so other people hear him. He wanted me to lose the job. This man was my enemy, most evil person in my life.
I can say this was pretty triggering. All these videos are, honestly, because, I can relate. And I can relate not even just from my own personal experience, but I can relate through the lens of other people that I see. Like, there's some people whose parents, they want them to be reliant on them. They want them to live mediocre lives so that they can complain towards them. They can call them, humiliate them, embarrass them. It's like they don't want their children to succeed. I don't understand that thought process. I don't understand that logic. It doesn't make any sense to me. But there are people who do not want their children to succeed. There are people who want their children to rely on them. But as they're doing that, then they'll shame the child. Like, oh, I can't believe you don't know how to do this thing. You're not very smart. Or I can't believe you don't know this or that or whatever. And it's kind of like, dude, like, because you were never able to do that. And that's why I say it's always important to let children grow, because that's how you learn decision-making skills. That's how you learn how to rebound and all of these different things. But some of these parents are stifling their children's growth on purpose. Or they'll say, oh, get a job, but now I need you to babysit. Or get a job, but now I need you to do this thing for me. Excuse me. It's like, what the heck? You really don't want your child to succeed. And I don't understand it. It's a weird, sick, poisonous mind, in my opinion, that would purposely want your children or your child to fail. But unfortunately, it is a poison that a lot of people have. All right, let's keep going.
I remember when Frank Ocean's Thinking About You had first came out, and I had did my own version of it with a different beat, and I kind of changed the flow of it to fit my voice. I showed my mom thinking she would be proud of me, but she was like, are you sure you did that yourself? You didn't copy nobody? You made that yourself? And then ever since that moment, I really realized damn, that's why I be scared to be creative, because that memory never really left my brain. It's damn, you couldn't tell me you sound good or that was amazing or anything like that, or I'm proud of you or whatever, or you're talented. It was, oh, I don't believe that you could do something that great. That shit is crazy.
I'm so honest that I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing at this point. Entire relationship, my ex needed a lot of reassurance, okay? And he at one point asked me about his woodpecker. And I remember this was the beginning we were dating, and he was like fishing for compliments. But I'm just so real, so don't ask questions if you don't want to know the answer to. He, I guess all his life has been praised by women, you know, because he had a pretty fair size, not gonna lie. But that wasn't enough to hype a man up, you know. Don't get me wrong. Should I have hyped my man at the time up more than I did? Yes. So that's a lesson learned for my next man, for my husband. I'm gonna hype that shit up. But he asked a dumb question and asked, am I the biggest that you've ever, whatever? And I remember looking at him and I was like, no. Like, I've had bigger before. And I said it that calmly. It was not like, no, I've had bigger before. It was just straight up facts. And he was so hurt after that. And like, he was already an insecure dude from the jump, even before me, from trauma and his past, that I kind of like messed up his ego even more. But I didn't mean to. Like, what comes out of my mouth, I don't mean it. And people who know me and learn about me know that when I say things, it's not intentionally to hurt people. I'm just not gonna lie. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you and be like, oh yeah, baby, it's the best. Like, even though sometimes my mom's like, girl, you gotta play your cards right and you just gotta, no, I'm not gonna be a liar. Like, I hold that so deeply that I am not going to be a liar. So don't ask questions if you don't want the answer to them. Like, that's just how it is. I looked at my man and like, to this day, I do feel kind of bad because I'm like, damn, I really said that. But it's the truth. Like, why are you asking me if you don't want to know? Yes, I've had bigger dicks before. I have. So I'm not going to praise you just because your freaking ego ass wants to get praised like all these other women before me. Like, no, I'm going to humble your ass. And luckily, I humbled the right man because he wasn't even a good man. He was low-key the devil and just low-key a dark soul. So, you know what? I'm glad I humbled his ass.
So I guess you have to be humiliated, ostracized, lied on, lied about, lied to, gossiped, and slandered to get some money.
A narcissistic mother who's experienced sexual abuse in childhood will always let their child experience it as well. Considering that they're narcissists and not normal people, they are completely aware what kind of path childhood sexual abuse can put you on in life. They know just how detrimental it can be to your spirit, and that's exactly why they allow it to happen. Narcissistic parents never want you to be better than them, to have a better experience than them in life. They want to make sure that you experience every bad experience that they had or more, because they always want you to be on a level below them, or at least on the same level. A narcissistic parent cannot stand when you are on a level above them, so they will willingly know that you're going through this and not intervene, not help you.
How can you stop your mother from telling lies about you? How can you stop your mother from spreading a vicious smear campaign about you? What can you do about it? I'm going to give y'all some tips in this video, so stay tuned. First of all, if your mother has been spreading vicious lies, rumors, gossip about you, you're an adult. There's a likelihood that she's been doing this since you were a child. This is not behavior that just starts instantly when you become an adult. You have to understand that she targeted you from the time of conception. There was just something about you. It's totally not your fault. It may be your father. It may be the fact that, you look like your father. You smile like your father. Your father favors you over her and she's jealous of that. It could be anything, but nonetheless, as a child, she has always had it out for you. So she started this vicious smear campaign from the time you were a child, an innocent baby, a helpless child that could not defend or protect herself. And if you have siblings, if you have a brother and sister, in childhood, early childhood, she will go out of her way to further bully and punish you by treating your siblings better than you. And like I said in many of my videos, this is an abuse tactic called triangulation. All narcissists use triangulation, including the number one narcissist, Satan. Satan uses the triangulation method all throughout the Bible. There's several stories of triangulation, starting with Adam and Eve, how the snake was able to come in and drive a wedge between their relationship and get them to turn against God. That serpent used triangulation. So just know, if anyone is triangulating you, I don't care if it's your family, I don't care if it's your workplace, your boss, it could be your friends. Triangulation is the sign of demonic and spiritual attack. It's a vicious manipulation tactic to cause division and discord. It divides people up and it pits people against each other. So just know, if your mother has ever used this tactic against you to pit you against your siblings, to make sure that you and your siblings never have a tight bond, a close-knit relationship, she deliberately, very strategically, and very calculated, she did it on purpose. She doesn't want you to be close to your siblings. She's insecure and she needs to feel in control of her adult children. So she will divide them up and tell them each different things about each other to make them all compete with each other for her approval and her validation. Wicked. Triangulation is beyond wicked, and it is 100% demonic, and your mother should be ashamed of herself for doing such a tactic. But that's what it is, y'all. Open your eyes and recognize this shit for what it is. There's something about you that she absolutely hates. And a lot of y'all think it's now that you're an adult, she's starting this shit up. No, baby. She's had it out for you since you were a baby. It could be your beauty. I know I'm beautiful physically. Always have. Despite me, I've been up and down with my weight. I've been obese, overweight. I've been teased and bullied by family members for being obese. I've lost the weight. One thing that has never changed is this face card. This face card will never decline. So I wholeheartedly believe my mother is envious of my beauty. My father sat me down and told me that as well. I believe it 100%. Your mother can hate you for all types of reasons. And another reason, like I've stated recently, is, I recently found out, I was clinically diagnosed by a psychologist that I have autism. I have Asperger's. And my mother has constantly painted this narrative, to her community, our family, her girlfriends, whoever will sit up and listen to her bullshit. The narrative has always been, I was slow, I was a little bit touched, I'm crazy, I'm mentally unstable, I'm mentally ill. No, ma'am. What it is, I'm autistic. And she's always known I was autistic. She didn't want to get me the help. She didn't want to get me evaluated per my teacher's recommendations. So, when a child is slow at learning or has a learning disability, especially if you're a little girl and your mother despises you, she will hate you even further. Just imagine my position, being a very pretty little girl, beautiful baby, gorgeous. I was told by numerous people I was a beautiful baby, beautiful little girl, gorgeous. And I had a disability. I was slow at learning. I needed all types of therapy, speech, occupational, recreational. My mother knew that, and she denied me that. But not only did she deny me that gave her motivation. It gave her ammunition to target me and bully me for those things. She hated me for those things. And that continued all the way up into my adulthood. So ladies, you basically, the fact that your mama gossips and tears you down, and she always has, you have no control over that. I know it's painful, the lies, the rumors and stuff, but I'm going to tell you how I got through it and how I am running the show. My mother can't do shit with me now. She can't even take me to court, and she cannot sue me for defamation or slander. She can't do nothing but sit there and take it. And I wholeheartedly believe that God has put me in this position to humble her ass for everything she's done to me. And you too can do the same with your mama. It is time for you to pull yourself out of that victim role. Yes, she beat you. Yes, she fat shamed you, body shamed you. Yes, she did not get you therapy for your autism, ADHD. Yes, she compared you to your sister and made your sister's ego blow up. Your sister's walking around with an overinflated ego, thinking she's better looking than you. Your mama did all these horrible things. And she continues to talk about you. She talks about, the fact that you can't keep a man, or you keep attracting abusive men, but she will not acknowledge the fact that she is the one that broke your self-esteem when you was a teenager. She destroyed your self-esteem by calling you horrible names, teasing you about your body, calling you, I was every type of fat bitch, fat pig. My mama did that to me before any man did. So ladies, if you have low self-esteem because of your mama, you're going to eventually attract an abusive man like your mama. Your mama's the root of all of that shit. And she knows it, but she'll still use that against you to have something to gossip about amongst her peers and family members. The shit that she does to you sets you up to fail. If you have poor hygiene, that's because she deliberately didn't teach you how to properly wash yourself, put on a maxi pad. She didn't teach you those things on purpose because she wanted to make a fool out of you to have something to talk about with family and peers. If your relationships fail with men, she sets you up to fail so she can have something to gossip about. You get where I'm going with this? So the way that you expose her and make her look like a fucking fool while humbling her at the same time, everything bad that she said about you, you are to outshine. Cut her off, first of all. You got to make sure she has no access to you. And you also, the people she hang with, whether it's family or friends, they got to get cut off too. You cannot have no connection to anyone she associates with, because she will use them as messengers to pass messages to guilt trip you to come back so she can keep bullying you. No, ma'am. Everybody tied to her gets cut the fuck off, your sister included. Start winning. She called you slow and mentally unstable. Go get that college degree. Baby, you best believe I got my bachelor's and master's. I'm about to get my doctorates. My mother doesn't have a degree, nor does my sister, brother, my immediate family. No, I beat all them in school. But let them tell it I'm slow and I'm stupid and I'm mentally unstable. Oh, by the way, I wrote and published 8 books that are now on Amazon, been on Amazon for the last 4 years, and they're selling worldwide. But let my mama tell it, I'm slow, I'm stupid, I'm dumb, I'm mentally ill. I was once the fat girl, now I'm down 150 pounds. My mama can't say shit about my body. And I'm making money doing all of this shit. That's how you shut your fucking mama down. Success. And never speak to her ever again. Period.
This is the age-old question right here. Why is it that when I bring up my pain to my mother, she makes it about her? Well, let me tell you why. A lot of our mothers dodge accountability by hiding behind the fact that they have been hurt. Oh, my mother was a terrible mother. I was abused too. And ain't no way you hurt as bad as I did. I heard that my whole life. As a matter of fact, I was a parentified daughter who was raising my little sister, and my mother looked me in my face with a straight face when I was 14 and said, "You don't know what it's like to be a teenage mom." Because imagine the gumption that it takes to tell a person you don't know what it's like to be made a teenage mom after making them a teenage mom. It's their emotional immaturity. They don't ever want to accept accountability, so they have to hide behind that pain. And if you bring up a grievance with them, then oh my God, you have to know that I suffered more than you, and I had it worse than you. You should be grateful for the experience you had. Now I'm gonna hold your hand when I say this. You have to stop giving a fuck about her pain. Does it sound callous? Maybe, but self-preservation is the first law of nature, and if you're going to save yourself, you have to stop feeling sorry for your abuser. 2 things can be true. You can hold space for the fact that she didn't have a perfect life, but you also can hold her accountable for making yours hell. Now here's something that's going to sound harsh, but it's going to be the best advice I could ever give an estranged son or daughter. They'll never apologize. They will never acknowledge your pain. Stop expecting it. Stop expecting it. And the moment that you change your expectation, then you'll change your relationship with the disappointment that you feel from the fact that they won't acknowledge you. That is going to get you over the hill that you are stuck on. I hope this helps. And if you have a question, let me know. Shoot, I'll answer it.
The narcissist will humble you if you look good or look better than them. They will humble you, and that humbling experience will be one of the worst things you've ever dealt with. Don't get it twisted. For those of you ladies who know that you look good, you are attractive, conventionally attractive, societally attractive, if that's a word, do not, I repeat, do not mess with a narcissist. I'm not saying just any man. Because a lot of times we know these people are narcissistic. We see the red flags and we still jump into it. But let me tell you this right now, if you're trying to or thinking that you want to make this mistake, don't do it. Do not mess with a guy that you know has some narcissistic ways and he's less than attractive or is not your type, or he's just not your type, but you're beautiful, you're attractive, you get a lot of attention, and you think, oh, maybe because he's medium ugly, or maybe because he's not my usual type, and maybe because I'm so pretty, he's going to appreciate me and I'm going to be the price. Okay, you might be the price for the first few months because, again, they do like pretty, shiny stuff. But once that love bombing stage is over, they're going to humble you. They're going to humble you in the worst way possible. Why? Because the narcissist is grandiose. They are cocky. They think that they're superior. They are grandiose. They think that they're God. They think that they should get all the attention, all the praises, all the love, all the compliments. And here you are. You're prettier than them. You're more beautiful. And they already have the Jezebel jealous spirit, right? They're jealous of their own partners. Especially the male narcissist, you would think I'm a woman, he's a man, we have nothing in common as far as him being jealous of how I look. No, they are jealous. They have that jealous, envious spirit, and it doesn't matter your gender. First of all, a lot of them are secretly closeted gay people. A lot of them are down low, and they are usually the bottom. Right? They are in their gay relationships. They're usually the woman in the relationship. So they're going to be jealous of you for being a natural born woman. You have this natural feminine softness and feminine essence about you, and you're attractive. They hate that. They hate that about you. And then top it up with the fact that you get a lot more attention than them. You go into a room, everybody's looking at you instead of looking at them. That bothers them. You go into an establishment and people give you compliments. It bothers them. And you would think, right? You will think that I'm attractive, I'm beautiful, I'm likable, I have a light about me, and my partner should be proud of that. My partner should feel like, yeah, I am with, I hit the lotto with this one. No, they hate that because you are getting all of the praises, all of the attention, all of the love, all of the compliments that they feel like they should be getting. And who are you to steal their light? Who are you to try to steal their joy? They hate that about themselves. So they will humble you. This is when they'll start talking about your looks. They'll start calling you ugly. If you've ever told them anything, any insecurity, because even the most beautiful woman has her own insecurities. There are things about her that she doesn't like. And those could be the same exact thing that people see and say, wow, she's gorgeous. It could be the fact that you have fuller lips, you have big natural hair, whatever it is, your eyes, your nose, your teeth, your whatever. These could be the things that people find attractive about you, but these are the things that you're insecure about. The moment you tell them that, maybe you told them that in the love bombing stage and they're like, no, what do you mean? I love your beautiful lips. I love your beautiful eyes. Oh my goodness, you don't need to lose a pound. Oh my goodness, you are just perfect. When they start to devalue you, when they start to show you who they really are, they will humble you, and they will use those things to further humble you. So, for those of you who think that I'm not going to date a pretty boy, or I'm not going to date a conventionally attractive man because I don't want competition in my relationship. So let me go on over here and date this ugly guy or medium ugly guy. If that guy is a narcissist, he will humble you in the worst way. And then when he cheats on you or discards you, he's going to leave you for a downgrade. A downgrade in the sense that this person will not be as attractive as you think you are. This person would be ugly in your opinion, but they'll do that just to further abuse you. They'll do that to F with your mind and your cycle, to make you feel like you're actually ugly, because you would think, if he can leave me for that person, that means I'm uglier than the person, right? That means there is something about that person that I don't have. And like I said, they will play on your insecurities. So excuse me, if you have the opportunity to date a guy that you find attractive, date them. Don't say, oh, I'm not going to date them because there's going to be competition, blah, blah, blah. You might as well go for your type. And if they cheat on you or if they leave you, then so be it. At least you went for what you want or wanted. But if you humble yourself or lower your standards to date a narcissist that is clearly not your type, clearly you're out of their league, they will humble you, and they will humble you in the worst way possible. They will call you ugly every chance they get. They will pick on you. All the praises and compliments that you got at the start of the relationship, you would have to give your kidney to get a simple, you look nice. You will have to give up your firstborn, possibly your second-born child, to get a simple, I like your hair. If that, you will beg and fish for compliments for the rest of your life. The same compliments they were showering you with at the beginning, now they're going to hate you for that. They're going to hate you for those things. And Lord forbid, like I said, you go out in public and you're always getting attention. People are always complimenting you, how beautiful you are, how nice you dress. All of those things, they'll use those same things to tear you down. And it's so sick, because when you're with a person, the person's opinion about you matters, especially if it's a romantic relationship. Romantic relationships are all about, how you feel about the other person, if you're attracted to the other person, how you see the person, and how the person sees you. So you're in this effed up situation with this person whose opinion, unfortunately, actually matters. And the person is basically abusing you and telling you, not only is your reality not true, but they're actually telling you that you're ugly. They're going to use every chance they get to insult you, and they'll hit below the belt every single time. They'll go so low. They'll try to cut you in ways that you can never recover from. So again, my simple advice, don't think that if you are an attractive woman, you're free or you are exempt from narcissistic abuse or jealousy. No, you even get it worse, because you're always reminding them of something they're not. You're always reminding them of something that they can't naturally be. You are just that. You're a female. You have feminine energy. You have softness. You have your femininity, and they envy that, because a lot of them are gay, and in their gay relationships they are the woman, and they can't naturally be a woman. They have to go through so many processes. They have to pay so much money. They have to transition to be what you was made to be, right? Even with the beauty, you were made this way. However way God made you, that makes people just see you and say, wow, you're pretty. Wow, I love your smile. Wow, I love your hair. This is how God made you, right? For them, they have to overdo it. They have to overdo it to get to that point, and it hurts them. It makes them mad. And then the fact that you get a lot of attention from other men, other women, anybody, it hurts them too, because they feel like they are so better and more beautiful and handsome and better than everybody, and they feel like they should get the praises. And here you are getting those praises. If you're a pretty girl, you're a target for these narcissists because you look good on their arms, but then they're also going to abuse you because you look good. So you cannot win, y'all. So my advice, go for the guys you want. Don't settle for the ugly guys, because if they're narcissistic, they will humble you. They will humble you.
Narcissistic parents help you just enough to shove their help in your face later on. Then slowly they complain about helping you. They do it on purpose. They will make this process on purpose so irritating and humiliating for you. So you end up refusing their help. And that's what they really want. Because they don't want to really help you. Their help is for other people to show off. When you will refuse their help, they will tell others that they are trying to help you, but you are refusing them. And they are good parents. They will tell everybody that they have tried. And you just don't appreciate anything from them. You are ungrateful.
She keep disrespecting you because she don't care. It's really just that simple. It's not that complicated. Your narcissistic mother just does not care about you. She don't give two about nobody but herself. And she gonna forever be that way. She gonna die that way. She like being that way. You know why she likes it? Because it's been serving her this long. She ain't never gonna change. People always at her beck and call. People always think she the cream of the crop, everything in between, while she over there traumatizing you behind doors. Go ahead and leave her ass. Don't stay there no more. If you can get out, get out. If you can't get out, make a plan to get out. If you need some help on how to get out, contact me and we can come up with a plan together. Because having a narcissistic mother is so detrimental to your psyche. You are drowning and you don't even understand. You are not living a life. You are just existing. She is killing your spirit. She is killing your soul. They are emotional vampires. She is sucking the absolute living shit out of you. You have nothing left to give because she has taken it all. But you can take your power back. Don't let her control you for the rest of your life. Get up off that floor. She done knocked you down 10 times. You can get up 12 more times. I promise you that you got it in you. If anything that I said to you today resonates with you, go ahead and follow me here. Save my content. Share it with somebody if they need to hear it. And we can heal together and I can help you become mother-proof. Her pain is not your truth. Okay? You are stronger than she has ever been. And as long as you choose yourself, you will get through this. Okay? Have a good day, a good night whenever you're watching this. And don't let that delusional bitch tell you nothing else that's not true. Block her the fuck out.
So this statement right here is 100% true if you're dealing with narcissistic parents. Your parents will be jealous of you. And if you're new here, I'm a narcissist. I have narcissistic personality disorder. So if you're growing up and one of your parents or both of your parents happen to be toxic or narcissistic, they will be 100% be jealous of you. Like this person said, if she received a compliment in front of her mom, she would pay for it later. She would get punished for getting complimented in front of her mom because her mom saw her as competition. And it's weird to think about, like, you birthed your competition. Like you actually pushed out a person you want to compete with and a person that you will intentionally hold back as well. Narcissistic moms and dads will intentionally try to hold back their kids from achieving goals that will push them past the achievements of their fathers or their mothers. Narcissistic parents will also have you feel like there's nothing you can do to make them happy. You can try as hard as you want to. You can get a 97 on a test, bring it home. Where's the other 3 points that you didn't get 100? 97 is not good enough. Go try harder. You end up growing up with a lot of insecurities and, not feeling like anything you do is good enough.
Is in the abuse itself. I happen to specialize in complex trauma and address emotional neglect and parental narcissistic abuse. When we're talking about someone that has been the scapegoat of their family and having a very hard time coming to terms with the fact that their parent is a narcissist, it is related to the emotional neglect portion of this more than you think. Narcissistic parents, whether you're dealing with a parent that's a vulnerable or covert narcissist all the way up to a malignant or grandiose narcissist, use affection to manipulate children. They will withhold physical affection, praise, showing you love, unless it's on their terms. But when you are offered those things, it's usually still met with criticism. So as the scapegoat of the family, you're not just used to being criticized and blamed for everything. You're also used to that parent withholding love and affection quite often. It teaches the child to perceive themselves as the issue. A child who's grown up like that will do a couple things. First things first, they will do whatever possible to avoid the wrath of this parent. They will walk on eggshells constantly, trying to minimize their existence to avoid upsetting the parent. That also means they will be heavily focused on people pleasing in an attempt to get any type of affection, even if it is a scrap of it, a breadcrumb, if you will, of affection from that parent. And because it is rare, if ever, that they receive it, or if it is received, it is always met with some type of condition or criticism. A specific belief starts to form. And that belief is, I'm bad, I'm the problem, I'm wrong, it's always my fault. If that child starts to go against that belief, which usually starts to happen in those teen years, that narcissistic parent will use triangulation and Darvo against you. They will bring other siblings in or other family members in to gang up on you and to prove that you, in fact, are the problem and the issue in the family, either by propping up the other siblings or family members, or by getting them to believe things about you that are not true. And then when we talk about the Darvo aspect, that's where they will completely gaslight you. They will deny they ever did anything wrong, and they will continuously turn it around on you and point out why it's actually your fault. So from day one, you have been set up to go without your needs being met, to the point that you constantly became hyper focused on meeting the needs of this parent, avoiding their wrath, and attempting to get little scraps of love, while also believing more and more that you are the problem. Keep in mind, since this is happening throughout your developmental years, you're not just cognitively believing that you are the problem and having a hard time believing the parent is, because the parent is supposed to be the authority figure, the protector, the caretaker. The nervous system became wired for those beliefs, because some of this shit started before you could even fucking speak. But even when you could speak and you started to challenge things, you were met with being isolated, being abandoned, rejected, being punished. All of that shit created nervous system responses that are still active to this day. Because when you were a kid and you challenged those beliefs, you couldn't get away. You had no other option but to back down in those moments. It's not just that it's hard for you to believe and come to terms with that, it actually feels like a threat.
I like to think of this almost like if you've ever seen They Clone Tyrone, but in your mind. So in They Clone Tyrone, his mom was like locked up in this room for like years, right? And it was always her saying the same thing over and over and over again. And then finally he opened the door, and I felt like that was him opening the door to his subconscious mind. He finally opened the door and saw that his mom was a tape recording. And so what I think happens as you grow up is that there's a tape recording of your parents in your mind. And if you do not intentionally do the work to put a different tape in your mind, then it will continue to haunt you day in and day out. And then your reactions to others will come from that space, because that's why so many people are so defensive. You probably had a narcissistic parent and you've always been feeling like people are attacking you or like you're unsafe. So you just get immediately defensive. And that is, to me, a sign that you grew up around someone hypercritical and maybe even narcissistic. And you know what? It seems like a lot of people have poisoned minds. But anyway, to me, it's like it's that tape recording, and They Clone Tyrone is a perfect example that you will hear your parents' voices in your mind your whole life. And it takes effort to not allow that to sedate you into mediocrity, especially if you had narcissistic parents with an S. So let's keep going. And y'all just remember, they already stole part of your life. Now it's on you to reclaim it, get it back, because you deserve better, period.
Every parent needs to hear this, Father.
I came home from work one day. I was very stressed out. I come in, my two youngest kids are in the kitchen. Luke and Allie are in there, and they are making a mess. So I go in there, I'm like, I don't know what you guys are doing in here, but stop it right now. Well, Dad, I don't want to hear it. Clean it up. And then I stormed upstairs. So my oldest daughter comes up, knocks on the door. She goes, Daddy, can I talk to you for a minute? I said, okay, what do you need? She goes, Daddy, I don't think you handled that very well. And she's about like 13, I could remember pride welling up in me like, oh, you don't think I handled something very well. Well, pray tell. I had no idea you were such an expert on these things. And I remember stopping myself, and it was almost like that moment of like quick prayer where it was like, okay, my daughter just had the courage to knock on the door, asked me if she could talk to me, and then had the courage to tell me that she thought I didn't handle something very well. And she's doing this all very respectful. And I remember catching myself and going, okay, what is it? And she goes, Daddy, the reason why Luke and Allie were in the kitchen was because they got permission from Mommy to make something for you. And that's what they were trying to do. And now they're too scared because you're angry to tell you. And I remember just thinking, oh my gosh, my 13-year-old daughter has just confronted me with something when I'm already in a bad mood, and she is 100% correct.
You can admit wrongdoing to your children. And this father did. And that is going to go with his children for a lifetime. When you mess up, tell your kids you messed up. Good for him for having that moment of clarity to go, I did something wrong here. I need to listen to my child. This is great advice for a lifetime.
That narcissistic parent does not like you because they are threatened by you. And I know that sounds ridiculous, right? Because they're the parent. And a lot of the times, people who are narcissistic or have narcissistic traits, look at that tongue tie, somebody trying to stop me from saying what needs to be said. They'll have kids that they didn't even want, or they'll have kids for the fact that they can feel superior to them. So if you're seeing this, it's probably for a reason. The narcissistic parent in your life, or parents, if it's one, if it's them, caretaker, whoever, does not like you because you grew, okay? Because they feel like you don't need them. When you start to understand yourself, right? You no longer make the same patterns and mistakes, right? When you make the conscious decision to pivot your life in the opposite direction of how you were previously going, meaning no more cycles, whatever the case may be, you're breaking cycles, you're breaking generational curses. They don't like it because they feel like they cannot tie themselves to your success. It's like you're successful, but I can't take credit for it. Remember, them being able to take credit for it would make them feel 10 times better about how they treated you, or them not being there, whatever the case is. Remember, when you have these great things going on, you have all these blessings coming through, you're so excited, you want to share it with them. Don't even feel any type of way that they're not excited. Do you understand why? Because they feel like you're overshadowing them. You are a reminder of how far they could have went, or the things they could have done, or the ways they could have been better, but they did not choose that. And instead of accepting that they're still alive and they still have the conscious mind to make decisions to where they can actually change their reality and do better, they will rather stay stuck in their own ways and make you out to be the problem. Remember, they make you out to be the problem so that they don't have to find a solution, because if the problem is you, then there is no self-reflection. Whoever's seen this, you are amazing, you are smart, you are dynamic. When I say to know you is to be blessed. Somebody just shouted something out at the car. There's always going to be distractions. And I don't know if it was a good thing or a positive thing, but we going to keep rolling. I don't even know what it said. But that in itself assigned to distract me from the fact that I was just speaking life into you, and that random car just drove by shouting out whatever as a distraction. This is what I'm talking about. And what I was going to say following up after that was, you are all those things, okay? And your parent or whoever knows that. And that is why they treat you that way. Not because you aren't worth anything. And a lot of the times, you know, a lot of people will tell you, you know, just get over it, push past it. But in reality, somebody who's never understood what it's like to have somebody that was supposed to raise you, care for you, you know what I'm saying, be your worst enemy, or try that and you're just trying to love them and they're pushing you away because they don't like themselves. So instead they take that out on you. So instead of becoming your biggest supporter, they become your biggest hater or have the most to say about you. Nobody will understand that unless they've gone through it. And I'm going to end this message with saying, do not allow anybody or any situation, even though it may be messed up, okay? Because some of you guys, whatever age you are, you know you've been dealing with this your whole life. So the reality is, in those situations, if these people, places, things try to come out the woodworks and upset you, trigger you, or whatever the case may be,
Ignore it. Take a mental note, because if they mad at the level that you are now, you haven't even reached your full potential, and that's what a lot of times they're scared of. See narcissists for what they are. A lot of it stems from insecurity and how them feeling inadequate deep down. You have to realize that. Just like narcissists try to ruin special events, days, whatever the case may be, your birthday, it doesn't matter. People only do that so that you can give them a reaction and they can feel important. When in reality, you don't care and they don't matter. So they're just going to upset themselves, and let them. And you use whatever energy you have to keep it pushing. Because I don't care who it is. Can't nobody stop what God, your angels, your ancestors got in store for you. Tell them to clock that.
In a narcissistic families, is always one who tells the truth. And when you less expect that is telling things that is not supposed to tell. And that person was me. When I was little, I used to tell, oh, but you did this and you did that. And telling everyone the way they were behaving. That's why they didn't like me. That's why they say I was lying and I was this and that. So back in the days, my family used to have video stores. And one time I was reading Hypnosis from one movie, and it was fornication, como California, that. And I just said it loud. I was maybe 12 or 13, and I said, what does that mean? And I asked my mother. My mother, instead telling me, I explained to you later, she humiliated me in front of everyone that it was in the store, telling me that I was a bad kid.
So another thing to expect when you are co-parenting with a narcissist is anytime your children are sick or something is going on with the kids and you're trying to communicate that to them, just be prepared that, again, their children are not their first priority. They are not thinking about what's in the best interest of the child. So they are not going to work with you on changing around parenting time. They are still going to question why the child is absent from school and try to make it some, weird thing that why is the child missing, even though you've explained to them that the children are sick. This is where it's incredibly important that you're not only documenting that your children are sick, but doctor's appointments, any doctor's notes from the doctor that you can also include in your communication with them. These are all things that I talk about a lot when it comes to documenting everything with the narcissist, because they're going to use anything and everything they can against you. So if their hidden agenda is to one day maybe move the school and they're saying it's because you're not getting them to school, you need to be able to go back in your documentation and say, well, they didn't get to school on these dates because they were sick, and here's the proof. This is why I say it can get exhausting, but it's what is going to save you in the long run, because their priority is not their children, and their priority is figuring out how to harass you and destroy you. And to be completely honest, even though they don't want the children full time, some of them their goal is to take your children away from you, because they know that it would literally ruin you. They know that it would just destroy you if your children got taken away from you. So that is what their goal is going to be. So you as a mother have to get even more ahead. And this is what I talk about a lot in my coaching program, is you have got to get ahead of them. Like, what you can count on as a constant in this type of situation is that they're always going to be dysfunctional. They are always going to be trying to attack you. So you have to get ahead of them and beat them at their own game. And one of the ways to do that is by documenting things like doctor's appointments, dates of when they were sick. Write this stuff down. It can get exhausting, but it is what is going to save you in the future. It is what is going to keep your children with you. It is what is going to beat the narcissist, because eventually when they see, like, I'm not getting away with anything that I'm trying to do to her, they are going to stop. Like, eventually it's not fun. And what they are doing is they're playing a game. And until you get better at the game than them, as much as you're not wanting to play this game, you have got to get ahead of their game. It's a sick, twisted mindset that they are in. But the sooner you figure them out and the sooner you figure out what their motives are and you can get ahead of that, you are no longer fun to screw with. You really have to understand this. It's so important that you are documenting everything. It is what will save your children, and it is what will keep your children with you in the long run.
One thing I also learned about narcissists is they're not interested in discipline, they're interested in punishment. And so there's a difference between disciplining a child or holding someone accountable or giving them the consequences of their action, period. But punishing is different. Sometimes people want to punish not for the benefit of the child or children or the person's growth. They want to punish because they feel slighted. It's like an ego-driven thing. It's not for the betterment of someone else. It's for the safety of their sensitive, non-huge ego that needs people to see them and fear them and see them in a certain way. And when you don't reciprocate that, then they have visceral reactions because they're used to people just doing what they want. They're used to being able to control people and manipulate. And when you like say, you know what, I'm good off you, I don't want to be around you, then they get obsessed. And a lot of your parents are probably like watching your page. You don't even know. A lot of people that you probably haven't spoken to are probably paying attention to you, checking on what you got going on. Like, it's weird, but people are like that. There are people who will just like G-check you for no reason. And you're like, you don't have a life? You don't have anything else better to do but be over here? I guess not. But that is what happens. Like those narcissistic people, once you get from out of their grasp, they're obsessed with you because you're the one who got away, and they've been able to control people their whole life, and they've been able to manipulate and stuff. And it's like, why won't you do it? Why won't you be manipulated by me? Why won't you be my victim anymore? You know, and they will leave, but they will always come back. They'll be hovering. So that's why when you close that door, if you decide to close that door, you got to nail that thing shut. Okay. And I was talking to one of my sisters the other day. This was a while ago, actually, not the other day. But she was basically saying how it was sad that I cut my dad off or whatever. And, you know, it's just sad. And I was like, you know what? No, it's not. And I told her, you know, and I'm her older sister, so I had to put her up on game. You know, it's not sad. What was sad was me at 5 waiting at the door for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours because my father said he was going to come pick me up. What was sad was every time a car drove past, I thought that it was my dad that was coming to get me. That was sad. What was sad was when people would walk past the window, I would sit and I would get so excited and it wasn't him. And it happened multiple times. That was sad. That 5, 6, 7-year-old Yana, that was sad. This, me taking a stand and cutting him off for my own safety and my own mental sanity, that is redemption. That is freedom. That is sovereignty. That is not sad. And you know what? Sovereign beings and people who are really about their stuff, sometimes you have to make the unpopular choice. Okay? It might be a hard decision, but that's what it is. Oh, well, period. So maybe, you know, in another reality, it was sad. But the fact of the matter is, what was sad was me thinking that one day he would see me for who I am. That was sad. What was sad was me being delusional and hoping for something that was never going to happen. But this, me claiming my life back, this is freedom, period.
Some of you didn't grow up with a difficult parent. You grew up with a parent with carrying darkness, and you knew it as a child. That's why their cruelty felt personal, why the humiliation was targeted, why they smiled in the public but hunted you at home. Darkness doesn't attack randomly. It attacks light and early, even before a child has language, confidence, or defense. I've seen this pattern in families, psych wards, and deliverance rooms. The most aware child becomes the designated sacrifice, not because they're weak, but because they're marked. The Bible says some parents hand their child over, not always physically, but spiritually, through jealousy, through hatred, through unbroken generational agreements. But listen closely, what they tried to transfer didn't stick. What they projected was exposed. You weren't the cursed one, you were the threat. If this just named your childhood, don't scroll. Book a private session with me. We don't cope with darkness, we end it.
You have a narcissistic parent. What was the weirdest tantrum?
I lived at home until I was 29. I'm 36 now. And this is the tantrum that finally gave me the courage to leave. Now, mind you, the goalpost as to when I could finally move out was constantly moved. For example, I wasn't allowed to move out for college because my parents didn't have any money. And then when I actually had money as a nurse, then it was, oh, you can't move out. Your dad doesn't have stable employment. You need to stay to help us with rent. But as I made more money as a nurse and as I became more independent, they became extra controlling and abusive. And my dad would force me to let him do my taxes so he can keep tabs on how much I'm making. Anyway, so one weekend I decide to go on a 2-night trip to San Diego. And I just go with one of my friends. This is just a routine trip from LA to San Diego, because we both had friends over there that we wanted to visit. But on the drive back home to my parents, I feel this very eerie silence. I hadn't really heard anything from my parents. It's that kind of silence where you know something's waiting for you when you get home. I returned home on a Sunday night at 9 p.m. and my mom is drilling me with questions. Why didn't you send photos of your trip? How are we supposed to know you weren't lying about where you said you were? How do we know you weren't out drinking? And mind you, I've never had a sip of alcohol in my life. So I stopped my mom. I said, I'm a grown woman. I don't owe you photos of where I am all the time. She said, you're not a grown woman. You're just a girl. And I said, I bet you don't say that when rent is due. Anyway, my mom gets so angry, she takes a wooden chair and she throws it at me. And for once, I do not credit my dad for this, but he stood up for me and said, why are you talking to our daughter like this? And then my mom goes into a narcissistic rage. She starts hitting herself because how dare my dad ever try to defend me? She starts hitting herself, threatens that she's going to call the police and tell them that I'm abusing her. I still can't fully describe what I felt in that moment, but all I saw was the chains come off of me. I could no longer see them as people that I have to keep sacrificing myself for. They make their way upstairs. Luckily, I still had my bags packed. I haven't even really taken off my shoes. I take my keys. I exit very quietly. I run to my car and I call up my friend. I said, hey, I need your sofa. My mom just got violent. At this time, it's 11 o'clock on a Sunday night. I get to her house. My mom starts calling me incessantly. I don't answer, but she starts leaving very rabid voicemails. She was saying things like, if you don't come home right now, I will show up at your work and I will make sure you get fired because you need to learn that you are nothing without me. I am the reason you have any money. I am the reason you have a job. And I will make sure that you understand I have the power to take that away anytime. And that's just a brief synopsis of what she was saying. I would play these voicemails to my therapist later, and she cried. And honestly, I have a lot of stuff blocked out. All I knew in that moment was that I had to act and protect my job. Because at this time, I was 2 months away from finishing my NP. I could not lose my only source of income. So I had to call my job. I had to call the night shift nurse and tell her that I think my mom might be having a psychotic break and she's making threats to show up at my job, so please blacklist her. And these are night shift nurses, okay? I felt humiliated that I had to even say this to them because I know they were going to gossip. But I went to work the next day. I barely slept. None of the nurses asked anything. My manager asked if I was okay and she let me go home early. In retrospect, I probably should have called out sick, but when something like that happens, you really try to hold on to whatever sense of normalcy and schedule you have. As soon as I came back to my friend's apartment, I crashed for the next 12 hours. I didn't have time to process. My friend just helped me start looking for apartments. I've been no contact 5 years, and that situation was not even the final breaking point that would lead to our estrangement.
I just seen this video of a girl and her mom was literally yelling at the top of her lungs, mad and upset that the girl bought panty liners and soap for herself. This is a perfect example of a narcissistic mother. They won't take the time to guide you through critical things of being a woman, like how to clean yourself, how to keep your space clean, how to be a woman, how to act like a good person or be a good person. Like, they refuse to actually raise you as a child. But then on the flip side, if you don't know how to do certain things, they shame you for not knowing how to do it. Like using the cleaning, for example, they won't teach you how to clean your body. And then when you're musty or something, they'll go out of their way to be like, oh, you nasty. You don't even know how to clean yourself properly. You don't even know how to do this properly. And then on top of all that, don't learn how to do these things for yourself. Like, that's basically what the video was showing. I'm assuming the girl, she bought herself panty liners and soap, but the mother never bought that stuff for her and stuff like that. once you start guiding yourself, once you start to take care of yourself and develop better habits, they'll be jealous of that. They'll be mad at the fact that you're learning how to take care of yourself properly. And so they'll try to shame you into feeling bad for developing skills and growing independence, because either they're jealous of you, or they feel like, I didn't show you how to buy those things. I didn't show you how to be a woman. I didn't show you how to clean yourself properly. So who do you think you are? Like, who's teaching you those things outside of me? And that's the thing about narcissistic mothers. They don't care about guiding their children. They don't care about their children going out into the world, being presentable people, being stand-up people. All they care about is the fact that they have some type of control over you and they're in competition with you.
Have y'all ever dealt with the parent that tells the family everything you did wrong or that you did in general, but never tell what they did? I went the longest time not knowing why my mother's side of the family never really rocked with me like that, but I also didn't care, so I never cared to clear anything up, right? But the older I got more curious, so I did a little digging. One day I had a conversation with my great uncle, and I was just kind of explaining, my trials and tribulations with my mother, past and present, and how I've always just been made out to be this evil monster, but I never cared enough to let anybody know what was happening to me behind closed doors. So I gave him an example, so I'm gonna give it to y'all too. When I was 21, I was living with my mother. I had a 1-year-old. Like any other time, I may have done or said something that just triggered her because she was already miserable. And the result of it was her grabbing me by my hair and dragging me off the bed in front of my 1-year-old and beating me in the hallway of our home. Beat me down the hallway till we got to the front room. And this is a trauma response with me laughing because nothing about it was funny. But it was very sad. My stepfather was there as well, and he didn't do anything to really help. But it is what it is. She made me really angry when she did that. And I was so tired of her finding reasons to put her hands on me. So I said to her, I wish that she got cancer and died. That's not right. It's very wrong. I had to repent. I had to apologize to God. I had to apologize to my mother 1,000 times. She still finds ways to bring it up. But the moral of the story is, my family never knew that she did that to me. The only thing they knew was that I said that I wish that she got cancer and died. So all this time, you got everybody thinking that I'm just this crazed out monster. But you're not telling them that you're beating me in front of my kid. My family was very shocked to hear that side. And still to this day, she'll still bring it up as if her part was never played and that I deserved for her to do me like that. So this is for anybody who deals with a narcissistic parent, a parent who is envious and jealous, a parent who lies, a parent who deceives. You are not crazy. You are not wrong. Get away from them.
Hey y'all, just a quick message. If you got a narc mom, I truly feel for you. I really do. And it's never easy having a mom like that because it's way beyond just a toxic mom. These are the moms that everything is calculated, everything is gaslighted, everything is manipulated. And they will go to extreme lengths to control you because they're jealous of you. It could be because you're a better mom. It could be because you're more successful. It could be because you're more attractive. It could be because you're nicer, softer, and whatever it is that they choose to be jealous about, they will. I think the most craziest thing that a narc parent can do to their daughter, hands down, is to try to take their daughter to court, because they do this. They take their daughter to court to try to prove them to be unfit so they can take their kids. Whole time they provided no support. Whole time they watched their daughter struggle and fall flat on their face, and then watch their daughter go crazy, and then take them to court and take their kids. That is the most insane thing that I've ever heard in my life. And I wouldn't put it past any narc mom, because the agenda with a lot of them is the same. It's to control you. So the quickest way that they can control you is through your kids. If they can't get to you anymore, they're going to get to you through your kids, for sure. So if you don't have a narc mom, I know we throw that term around loosely, but look, those who get it, get it. You will never forget what a narcissist is if your mother is one. So if you don't have a narc mom, just be glad, be grateful, because a lot of people out here only got that one narc mom. You only get one mom, and their mom is a narc. So
this is random, but does anyone else not do step parents? So my mom was married to my dad for like 9 months. And when I was like 11, 12, she got remarried. You know, that's my stepdad. I see him as my stepdad. But like, because I was a child. So like, that guy is my stepdad. I feel like he's my stepdad. Now my mom is married again. And also my dad got married a second time and then got divorced within a year. So I'm not on the whole step parent thing. Cause like, I already had one, then he wasn't. I had a stepmom, then she wasn't. So like, you know, I'm done with it. When my mom got married the most recent time, you know, my grandparents were like, oh, are you excited about your new stepdad? No, that's not my stepdad. That's just some guy. Like, because I'm already an adult, it's like, no, you're not my parent.
You made this into a whole argument.
We were doing fine. You bought me some things. You bought me nice.
Okay, all right. Okay. I don't have attitude. You call it attitude. Okay, I'm not gonna keep arguing with you over this. I was confused. I'm not wrong. I'm not wrong. I'm not wrong.
Pretty please.
I'm not wrong. No one's right or wrong. No one is right or wrong. No one is right or wrong. I was just confused and asked the question and you got mad. No one is right or wrong. No one is right or wrong. No one is right or wrong.
What immediately screams trashy parenting to you? Stitcher comment.
Story time. When I was about 8 years old, I have a brother and a sister. I'm the oldest. Next is my brother, and my sister was the baby. I was about 8, and I want to say my sister was a toddler, 2, 3 years old at the time. My mother was running late for work, and she could not find her car keys. And she was tearing up the house looking for them. We were in my grandmother's house, actually, and she blamed me. She said, you took my keys and you hid my keys. And I said, no, I didn't, Mommy. And she said, yes, you did. She just outright blames me. I didn't touch the keys. I didn't see the keys. My mother chased me all over my grandmother's living room, and we ended up in the kitchen, right? And she cornered me in the kitchen. And remember, now I'm 8 years old. She cornered me in the kitchen and she punched me directly in the nose, bust my nose wide open, blood splattered all over my shirt. Yeah, fucked up, right? So where were her car keys? Okay, she's running late for work. Where did the car keys end up being? Come to find out, my baby sister, who is a toddler at the time, I don't even think my sister was speaking. She was walking around with a pacifier or her thumb in her mouth. Didn't talk, just quiet. My baby sister stuck the keys in the door. She was, you know how children emulate and copy off of adults. Apparently she's a toddler and she saw the adults, you know, put the key in the doorknob. So she was just, you know, repeating what she saw. So she stuck my mother's car keys in the door some type of way. Okay. You think my mother apologized to me? She said, oh, y'all get in the car. Let's go. Let's go. She rushed us in the car. Wait, the story gets better after this. Blood all over my shirt, sitting in the back seat, and blood all crusted and dried up all over my nose, my shirt, and everything. We get to the job. Here, this is where it gets real good. At the time, my mother was working at this shoe store. It was something like Payless Shoe Store, some type of store like that. She parked all the way in the back of the parking lot, right? And she said to me, you are to watch your brother and sister. Here's a loaf of bread, a jar of jelly, and some oranges. Make sure they eat. You take them to the bathroom in the store, but don't you let anything happen to them. If anything happens to your brother and sister, I'm gonna beat your fucking ass. And do you know my mother left us in the back of the parking lot for about 8 hours, her whole entire 8-hour shift. I was responsible. I'm 8 years old, remember now, and I'm responsible for my brother and sister's well-being. Blood all over my shirt, busted nose, dried up blood all over my mouth and nose, 8 years old. You want to talk about trashy parenting? When you're raised by a narcissistic sociopath, psychopath, and you know for a fact that your mother does not love you, she's emotionally disconnected from you, and the only reason she gave birth to you was to control the other parent. You're nothing but a pawn piece in this sick game between her and your father. There ain't no way you love your children and you treat them like that. That's just one story, y'all. I got too many stories. I thank God that I'm healed from my childhood trauma. I forgive that woman. But I tell you what, she'll never see me for the rest of her life. And I mean that. I'm very indifferent. I don't have anger towards her or hatred, but I'm very indifferent. I'm so comfortable telling this story now. I don't tear up or anything because I am at peace with who I am. And I'm a mother. And I would never do that to mine. I've raised mine differently. But I say all this to say, most of us were raised by narcissistic mothers. And especially the single mothers that raise these fucked up men today. This is why these men are fucking misogynistic, because their mamas are narcissists. And they have a hidden resentment towards their mothers. They have a love-hate relationship. And instead of them cutting their mamas off permanently and going to therapy to heal those mother wounds, they rather instead jump into romantic relationships, and all their anger and resentment built up over the childhood years at their mother, they punish their girlfriends and wives and baby mamas for the transgressions and sins of their mamas. It is hell being raised by a narcissistic woman. She destroys her sons and her daughters. But my mama didn't destroy me. I became a better woman and a better mother than her. Y'all be blessed.
A little birdie told me that you wanted to learn how to get revenge on your narcissistic parents, so I'm going to teach you exactly how. Be so freaking in touch with reality and the truth, and knowing that what you experienced from their abuse is exactly how you're going to remember your narcissistic parent for the rest of your life. You can't create a memory that doesn't exist, let's be real. Even if there are happy memories from basically the love bombing stages, being in touch with the truth is key, because when you see the love bombing stage for what it is, manipulation to gain your trust so they can gain control over you again, so they can restart the cycle of abuse over and over, there's really nothing left to romanticize. You stop looking through a blurry, confused lens that aligns with their narrative, and you start seeing things clearly from the lens of the actual reality. Quick little story time. My narcissistic mother died 5 years ago, and no, I don't have any nice memories to cling on to. Not because I'm bitter, but because I know who she actually was, and this is how I remember her, in a very realistic manner. And what's wild is that even more truths came out when she did die. There were documents, lies, and manipulation that I didn't even know about. It just was further confirmation for me. It didn't shake me. And that's because I had already started doing the inner work. And that's what doing the inner work and going on your healing journey is all about. Radical acceptance. Knowing that it wasn't your fault. Knowing that this deeply unwell person who refused to look inward projected all of their damage onto you just because you were there, not because you deserved it. My late narcissistic mother was the adult the entire time. She had choices. She chose to be abusive. That's on her, not me. And I'd encourage you to adopt the same mindset if you were also raised by a narcissistic parent. And you know, maybe this is what karma is. Maybe the real revenge isn't rage, it's just truth. It's choosing to live your life on your own terms without the guilt that was conditioned into you from day one. You don't owe them a rewritten story. You owe yourself the truth.
The only reason he's moving like that is because he wants you to react. He wants to make it seem like you are the fucking issue. Listen to me. Do not give that man a reaction. He's waiting for you to react. The moment you react is the moment you lose. The moment you react is the moment that his ego gets stroked. Starve him of a fucking reaction. Starve him. Let him be in his mind and think, why isn't she reacting? This is weird. something's up. Who's involved? What's going on? The moment you start reacting, you're now crazy. You immediately lose. It doesn't matter what you say to try and back yourself. He did this, he did that, and this. You lost. Because when he tells his side of the story, it's always going to go back to, look at the way she acts. You see what I'm talking about? Do not let him do that. I understand that sometimes you're running on thin ice. I get it. Let him have the last word. Any guy who's intentionally trying to hurt a woman, trying to be petty, trying to get under her skin, trying to do the most just because they want a reaction, he's feeding off of it. Do not fold. The moment you fold is the moment you lose. Don't let him convince people that you're the crazy one. Because the moment you react, you are going to look fucking crazy. Who he genuinely is, it's going to come out on its own. You're not going to have to do anything, baby girl. Nothing. Okay? Do not let him win. Do not stroke his fucking ego. You got this.
One of the most difficult things for an empath parent to do is to accept your adult child may be a narcissist. And the reason I say adult child versus your teenage child is because, you know, through our teenage years, we all may go through that crazy phase, but you know, you grow out of it. And oftentimes I will say this, like when I see an adult, you know, narcissist, oftentimes there was at least one parent that had strong narcissistic traits and was very abusive in many ways towards them. And so then when you have the empath parent, what they do is you try to overcompensate because you know what they went through. And then you even project your own experience into it. And you say, listen, I know what I went through as a child, and I don't ever want them to feel what I felt. But now here's the reality. They are treating you like you were the abuser. All right. They display no empathy at all towards you or anyone else. They continually play the victim, and they take being entitled to a whole new level. They will gaslight you and they will play you to get whatever they want from you because they know what? You have a big, huge heart. They will say the most disrespectful things to you. You're like, you do realize I'm your parent. How could you say something like that to your parent? But as an empath, guess what? You tend to take it because you try to do everything that you can to fix the relationship. Because you want what? You want nothing more than to have a relationship with your child. They will do the smear campaign, beyond smear campaigns, telling everyone that you were the worst parent ever and you did all this crazy stuff to them. And you like, what? Lies, okay? And your heart breaks 1,000 times over because the guilt that you feel is just unbearable. How is this something that I'm dealing with? There is a scripture that says, the children shall rise up against their parents and cause them to be put to death. And you may say, wow, you know, I mean, that's extreme. And I'm not saying that this is going to happen, you know, literally, you know, but I am saying that your heart has died 1,000 deaths. And you've said to yourself, this is not the child that I've raised. But the truth is, this is the child that you got. So now what do you do? Okay, first thing is you have to forgive yourself. You have been beating yourself up relentlessly and you have to stop. You did the best you knew how to do. No one is perfect. Scripture says this, we've all sinned and fallen short. Okay. And at some point, everyone has to take responsibility for fixing their own life. And this includes your child. Playing the victim ain't a solution. All right. And here's the other thing. You have to have ironclad boundaries. All right. You must be very clear about what these boundaries are and what the consequences are for disrespecting them. Now, I'm not saying this means that you totally have to cut your child off. Okay. I'm not saying that, but it may mean that you have to have extremely limited contact. And in some extreme cases, yeah, you may have to cut them off, cut off all communication. Now, listen, I didn't say anything about this was easy, but the truth is, if you don't demand respect with a narcissist adult child, You are telling them you approve of the disrespect. Now, let me ask you this question. Are you dealing with a narcissist adult child? Have you been disrespected in more ways than you can count? And are you struggling because of the guilt and heartbreak that you feel? If this is you, you know what to do. Go to my website, ChristopherReed.org, schedule your free 30-minute consultation so I can tell you how coaching can help you. 1, forgive yourself and put boundaries in place with your adult narcissist child. If you like the material, please subscribe. Y'all be safe. Peace.
5 things I've learned since 2 of my adult children have gone no contact with me. Number 1, intergenerational trauma is real, and as a result of my unhealed wounds, I was emotionally unavailable to my sons. They made the right decision for them, and I'm proud of them. The best way I can love them is to honor and respect their no contact wishes. I could either blame them or I could work on me. I chose to work on me. Just because I tried my best doesn't mean I didn't mess up being a parent, and admitting that doesn't make me a bad person. My son's going no contact with me has been one of the most difficult things that's ever happened to me in my life, but it's also been a blessing. Please hear me out here. It has given me the time and the space to be able to look at my own unhealed trauma and figure out where my own toxicity is and how I can improve myself, how I can heal myself and become a better version of myself. There's always something to learn. No matter what we go through in life, there's always something we can learn about ourselves.
One of the best pieces of advice that I can give you when you're trying to co-parent with a narcissist is to give your kids a chance to decompress. And of course, if you do hear, I'm actually a diagnosed narcissist. When you're dealing with a narcissistic person, when you're trying to co-parent with them, control what you can control, which typically means controlling what you can control within the confines of your own home, right? Because typically you cannot control what goes on in the other parent's house. You just can't do that a lot of times. So no matter what the co-parenting schedule is like, when the kids come back to your house, they need a chance to decompress. They need a chance to be able to feel emotionally safe and validated in your house, because a lot of times that's what they're not getting at the toxic or narcissistic parent's house. It's going to be completely different environments a lot of times, right? It's damn near like dropping your kids to the bottom of the ocean, right? And when they come, the deeper you go into the ocean, the longer it takes to come back up, because you need decompression stops. You just can't come back to the surface. You need a chance to decompress underwater so you can get ready to go back to the surface. But your kids need that chance to decompress before they can come back to the surface of your house. So if you have to meet the other co-parent at the store or something like that, the police station to exchange, do something in between going straight home. Or don't give your kids a chance to write in a journal. Do something to release their emotions, because a lot of times they're repressing their emotions at the other parent's house. That's just what they're doing. Not fully be able to express themselves over there, so they hold a lot of stuff in. So you want to give them the chance to let it out when they come back to your house, so they feel emotionally safe and validated with you. Giving them a chance to journal and things like that is one of the best ways to go about doing it right there. Like, instead of going straight home, go to the park or something. Give them 15, 20 minutes at the park. Let them breathe. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times, y'all, I'm telling you, when you go to the other parent's house, the toxic parent's house, it's like you have to hold your breath. And they need to be able to feel like they can exhale when they come to your house. Like, if they getting ready to get into the car at the other parent's house, look at your kids like they're having to, look at your kids like they have to take a deep breath, like, and then when they come back to you, they should be able to feel emotionally safe and vulnerable and be validated by you. I know it doesn't sound fair, but when you're co-parenting with a narcissist, you have to put in extra work. You just have to. I know it doesn't sound fair, but the burden of the emotional load falls onto you. You have to be the emotionally safe parent. You have to make them feel emotionally safe, emotionally validated, and things like that. Or they just, I'm not saying they're going to turn into narcissists, but they might have some emotional things. They might end up in therapy before. You see what I'm saying? So I hope this video brought you some clarity. If it has, make sure you go ahead and like and subscribe to the channel. And also, if you have kids around 10, under 10, check out my kids book on Amazon. It's called Remember It's Not Your Fault. This is about growing up in a toxic household, having a toxic parent, about telling them the truth, setting boundaries, and things like that. It's available on Amazon. Check it out, y'all.
Again, if you have a narcissistic parent, you are seen, you are safe here, and now it's time for you to reclaim your life, okay? You have the power, the ability, and the capacity to get their poison out of you. It's not going to be easy. I'm going to tell you right now, it's not going to be overnight. There's no 7-day thing you can do to cleanse that BS out of you. However many years it took to get it to you, you have to consider it's going to take at least a few years to get it out. But at least you know you're making the decision that's best for you, and you're showing up for your inner child, okay? You're showing up for your inner child, period. All right, thank you guys for watching. Comment below, let me know what you guys thought about this. If you want some content that's not so heavy, then join for the live, because that's where we just be having fun, talking, playing games, and doing the things. But, you know, healing is also part of this journey. You know, and 2026 is going to be our year. You know, it's the year of the revolutionary healing. It's the year to just cater to yourself and be gentle to yourself and put yourself first, period. All right, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.